Welcome to Podsdale, where we explore the stories that make Scottsdale truly special. I'm your host, Holly Walter from the city's Office of Communication. Join me as we learn what makes Scottsdale tick. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Well, today Podsdale becomes Crimesdale, and we have one of our favorite guests back on the show today. We have Bruce Wall, our citizen advisor, who is going to share a story with us today, right, Bruce?
Absolutely. It's going to be a fun story, more of the true crime genre than of the history story, but there's a little bit of history to it.
All right, perfect. Question for you. So we've had you on several times, but the true crime stories, you do this regularly, right?
I do. I do this as part of Scottsdale's Neighborhood College. 2 new presentations are done each year. One is a crime story, one is a history story about the good people versus the infamous people.
Okay. And then what got you into doing some research in this area? It's kind of interesting. I know a lot of people love the true crime.
Well, it's all because of you, Holly.
Oh, because of me?
Yes, because your office was the place that people came in when they were picking up their awards for years of service. And I was in the office one day and an officer came in. And I knew the officer, and I said, "Hey, how's it going? What can I do for you?" And he said, "Oh, I'm looking for Holly so I can get my Years of Service award." And I said, "Tell me about a fun story that happened to you in your career, like some great case that you did." And one of the officers told me this story.
Oh, okay. Well, perfect. I'm glad that I had a hand in this. I didn't even realize that. So let's jump into it. Let's get started.
Okay, let's go back to the year 2007. Mary Manross is the mayor of Scottsdale back then. If you want to look at cultural touchstones, the best picture in 2007 was No Country for Old Men. It beat out Atonement, Juno, Michael Clayton, and There Will Be Blood. The number 1 TV show was American Idol Wednesday night in the 6th season of American Idol with their original judges, and it beat out American Idol Tuesday night, Dances with the Stars, Monday, Dances with the Stars Tuesday, and Dances with the Star Wednesday. If you're wondering why all these things are reality shows, it was right after a writer's strike, and that's the year we got all our reality shows. Or they were pumped up on more and more. And if you want to look at a song from 2007 to get you in the mood, the number 1 song for the week of April 13, 2007 was Don't Matter by Akon. It was followed by The Sweet Escape by Gwen Stefani, This Is Why I'm Hot by Mims, Glamorous by Fergie, and Girlfriend by Avril Lavigne. So are you back into that 2007 year?
I'm in 2007 right now.
Awesome. Okay, so this was a crime that happened in a parking lot. And, people sometimes get into different things where they hear a location or they hear a person and they immediately decide what the crime is all about. But this one has so many levels to it that you think it's like peeling back an onion. You really don't know what you're at the beginning. So the first thing that happens is a man comes into a business and yells, "He's shot, he's dead, my son, he's dead." So the woman at the counter picks up the phone, calls the police, and the police show up. So what can we assume? It's the man's son. We don't know why he's been shot in a parking lot. There's no real reason for it. So as they conduct the investigation, they find out the man's name is Travis Wayne Hartland Seffrin, and he was employed as a power sprayer washer. He cleaned up parking lots for a company owned by his father, who was known as John Scott Travis Hartland, and they had the contract to clean the parking lot that was north of Zorba's adult shop that is located at McThomas and Scottsdale Road on the northwest corner.
And were they out there during the day?
This was about 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning.
All right. So it was really early.
Yes.
Okay.
And apparently the father reported that he went to get coffee for them both. When he came back, he found his son shot in what gangland terms is called zippering, which means as if you were zippering up your jacket, there was a bullet in everything. So he had like 4 shots.
Oh, wow.
In a zipper format hitting his chest. So a strange way to do this. Police set this whole thing up, and they're trying to find why would anyone kill a guy who's cleaning up parking lots with a power spray. I mean, it doesn't make much sense. Why does it look like a gang hit?
Right. It does sound intentional, like he's
Very
targeted.
much so. Yes. They found the coffee that the father had got. They found the father's car. It was in the lot. They found the son's car. They found the bullet casings. So it's kind of a mystery. They start investigating the father a little bit, and they find out that the father's not actually the father. It's a really long story. He's from a place called Heron, Illinois, and he was the president of the school, of his high school student body. He was a very popular person back in Illinois. He went into the Air Force, served for 2 years, discharged. He started a promising career, but he started writing bad checks, and he got caught doing it a lot. And as this case got worse and worse, he ended up serving some time, and he wrote bad checks in multiple states, and he got caught in Arizona, and he served time in a prison outside of Tucson. While he was in this prison, he met this guy, Travis Wayne Hartland, and in the course of this, they sort of adopted each other.
Okay.
And John called himself Dad, and Travis called himself the son, and they each took each other's last names.
Oh, wow.
And why did they do that? It was sort of a mystery. The more they dug into this, there was more and more, again, peeling back the onion. They even found family obituaries that listed them as father and son for the family in Illinois. So it was kind of confusing since there was no familial connection.
Right.
So they keep exploring and more investigation, and they find that while they are serving time in prison, that there is a rule that if you get probation or parole, you can't associate with known felons, with one exception, if you're a family relation.
Okay, so they got around it that way.
They got around it by claiming each other as father and son, stepfather, stepson, whatever you want to call it. But there was no family relation, the connection that they could find. It was essentially a manipulation.
Okay.
Then they found out that this guy, John, the quote-unquote father, was connected to another guy named Tommy Orville Bastian, or his nickname was Tommy Gunn. And he viewed John as his mentor. He said, when he was interviewed, he said that John arranged for a school loan. He lied to his parole officer that he had a job working for the asphalt cleaning business. He co-signed his hotel bill. He did all these wonderful things for him that were involving lying, cheating, and manipulating the system. And he viewed John as a mentor, kind of scary. And then Tommy had a known associate named Jose Quintero Figueroa, and the two of them were known associates. They also started looking at the cell phone usage of John, the father, and turns out that when John said to his son, Travis, "Do you want some coffee?" he said yes. As he drove away, he got on his phone and he called Tommy. They don't know what he said, but next thing you know, Tommy and Jose are there and do the shooting. And how do they know that? Well, they found video surveillance from the business next door of the entire murder as it went down.
Okay. And that was in 2007.
Yes.
So that was a great breakthrough because not as many businesses had that type of surveillance around their buildings and such.
Right. And good quality stuff was even harder to find. So this was definitely a benefit for them. So it turns out that Tommy was there, but Jose was the gunman who did the 4 shots. And at first they thought, okay, we've connected these two. Let's do a search warrant. Let's get everybody's DNA. Let's get it so we can place people at the scene of the crime. Let's get everything we can track down. So they execute search warrants at the same time at both the home of Jose Quintero Figueroa and of John, the father. And when they do the thing of John, they try and go in the door. He has the door barricaded. And while they're trying to barricade it, John takes a gun and commits suicide.
Oh, wow.
So they go in to do the investigation now at Jose Quintero Figueroa's home. It's on the southeast part of the valley. And when they're there, they found that they had test fired the gun that they ended up using for the thing. By shooting it into the wall of the home, they found the bullet, and the bullet ended up being a match for the bullets used in the murder. So that's how one of the ways they were able to prove to connect the two of them.
So they kind of left evidence right there.
Yes.
To be
and
easily
shot
found.
Into their home much. I don't know if you do in your home, but I don't choose to discharge weapons in my home.
I don't do that.
Yeah.
And John, I have a question about.
Yeah.
So, it sounds like he perhaps knew what was coming.
He did, because right after Travis was murdered, one of his phone calls was to the insurance company that he had hired. And he had told Travis that Travis was going to be his partner. And since they were going to be partners in this business, they needed something called key man insurance, so that if one of them died, the other would have enough money to run the business. So he got $500,000, he meaning John, got $500,000 life insurance policy on Travis, and Travis had $500,000 life insurance on John. And it was all paid for by the business. So now we have the motivation for why it happened, why he would hire Tommy and Jose to go and do the shooting. They have the evidence of the bullet from the home. And then while they're interviewing one of the people, there's like a side story that's completely not related to this crime, but it was related to a crime in Scottsdale in 2007.
Okay, so the story doesn't end here.
It doesn't. It keeps going. So while this was going on in 2007, there was another crime where one morning, all the bus drivers of the Scottsdale Unified School District went to their lot to get the buses to go and drive, and every single bus, over 100 of them, had been broken with baseball bats.
Wow.
The windshields had been broken. So they had to replace all 100 windshields in one fell swoop. And just amazing coincidence, the company that provided them just happened to have exactly 100 windshields to replace them, so that by the next day, all the buses were back. And that's an incredible coincidence. And what a great, fortunate thing, until it happened again. And again, 100 windshields. And again, the guy just happened to have 100. And it's starting to be a little suspicious.
Sure.
So they found out when talking to one of the friends that lived in this house with Jose and with Tommy, he made the comment when they saw it on the TV, he said, "Oh, look, we're famous." When they talked about this criminal damage case, they reported to that, and then they were able to connect that they had broken the windshields. They were hired by the company that provided the windshields to Scottsdale Unified School District. They were hired to do the breaking so that he would get all this money. So that ended up being that owner's undoing as well. So it ended up, one crime ended up solving a second crime in Scottsdale.
Okay, yeah, it all goes back to these same people.
Yeah. So John, the father, is dead, and Travis, the son, is dead. Jose Quintero Figueroa goes to prison. He is charged with the crime. He's found guilty, and he's serving a natural life sentence. Tommy Bastian, or Tommy Gunn, he's also found guilty. He's also serving a life sentence. So again, now you think that's the end of the story, right? Well, let's fast forward to the year 2016. And Tommy has now married a woman named Michelle Marie Bastian, even though he's in prison and she's not in prison. And he's converted to a radical form of Islam. And he decides that he wants her to bring him a bomb. So she tries to smuggle in a bomb into the prison complex in Arizona, and she gets stopped, and they take the bomb away, and she's convicted of an act of terrorism against the Arizona State Prison Complex, Lewis and Buckeye. So again, you think that's the end of the story, but wait, there's a little bit more.
Okay.
Tommy now has to go to jail, or not to go to, he's already in jail, but he's now got to go up on charges that he tried to blow up a prison building.
Okay.
And while they do that, they take him over to the 4th Avenue jail, and he's decided to represent himself. And he gets a committee of lawyers who he writes letters to, and they give him advice, and he's going to defend himself. And he complains to them that they're not responding to his letters. And they say, "Oh, yes, we have responded to every letter you sent us." And he said, "Well, I'm not getting them." The lawyers end up suing and finding out that some employee with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office has taken the mail that he should have received and opened it and not given it to him, which is a violation of the First and the Sixth Amendment. Then the jailers lied that they did it, and they all not only got charged with crimes, but they got arrested. So then you think this is the end of the story, but it's not.
Well, one thing I'm seeing as a frequent pattern is it seems like anyone who associates with this guy ends up arrested and charged with a crime.
It does seem that way. Tommy ends up suing the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, and he wins a settlement they drop all the charges of terrorism against him, and he wins a settlement of $175,000, which he can't spend because he's in prison.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the end of that story for now, we think.
Okay.
We hope that's the end. That settlement happened in 2019. So this 2007 case resonated in Arizona all the way until 2019.
Wow. Years and years and years.
Yes.
Interesting guy.
Yeah. The whole story, just absolutely fascinating how it just keeps coming back where you think your initial reaction of someone getting killed in a parking lot, well, it couldn't be all the things that it was. It couldn't be a gangland hit. It couldn't be something done for money. Why would you kill someone who's a parking lot cleaner? I mean, all these things ending up adding to the story the more you research and the more you do it. And I have to thank that officer who told me this great story.
Just popping into the building to pick up an award.
Yep.
Wow. Well, it sounds like he's certainly a lifetime criminal, but perhaps not the smartest of criminals.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I could say smarter or not, but he certainly has been caught more than his fair share of time.
Sure.
So maybe that's something to the police officers who are tracking him down.
Yeah, they do great work.
Yes, absolutely.
And wow, that was a great story, Bruce. And thank you for coming in and sharing. And I'm sure we would love to have you back for another story. So hopefully we'll have more to come. But thanks for joining us today and sharing that tale. I think that will lead to the title of this episode. But wait, there's more.
Absolutely. It's such a fun story and such an interesting story. So thank you for having me, Holly.
Yeah, of course. That's all for this episode of Podsdale. If you enjoyed listening, be sure to subscribe. You can find us on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Feel free to share your thoughts and experiences with us by emailing communications@scottsdaleaz.gov. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, this is Holly Walter signing off and inviting you to be part of the Scottsdale story.